What's the most powerful weapon ever invented? It's not a bomb. It's not an army. It's something you probably have in your wallet right now. It's debt. Debt conquers without ever firing a shot. It doesn't need soldiers. It uses promises. For centuries, empires have risen and fallen, but the ultimate form of control has always been the same: the power to make others obey through money. And in our modern world, debt is the invisible chain that binds billions of us. Think about it. We are born into a world built on debt. Entire nations are financed by it. The cornerstones of our lives, our education, our homes, our healthcare, even our dreams, are often paid for with borrowed money. We've been taught that this is normal, that it's just the price of progress. We're told that without borrowing, there's no growth. But what if that's a lie? What if the system was never designed for us to actually win? To truly understand the invisible prison of modern debt, we need to look back. Centuries ago, rulers controlled people with swords and taxes. Today, it's done with contracts, interest rates, and credit scores. Banks don't need whips anymore. They have algorithms. Instead of building stone walls, they build financial systems. It always starts small. A student loan to get a degree, a mortgage for a house, a credit card for that thing you just have to have. At first it feels empowering, right? You get what you want today and figure you'll just pay for it later. But here's the trap. Later never really ends. Interest starts to pile up. The cost of living rises, but our paychecks don't keep up. And before we know it, the borrower becomes the servant. Not to a king or a queen, but to a faceless institution. We become a number on a spreadsheet. And this isn't just happening to individuals. This pattern scales up to entire countries. Governments borrow billions from international banks to develop, to invest, to stimulate the economy. But every single dollar comes with strings attached. The lenders get to decide a nation's policies, its taxes, its priorities. And when it's time to pay up, who foots the bill? The people. We pay through higher prices, fewer jobs, and cuts to essential services like schools and hospitals. This is the global debt trap. It's a system that promises prosperity but delivers dependence. The numbers are almost too big to comprehend. Global debt has now skyrocketed past $300 trillion. That's more than 3 times the economic output of the entire planet combined. Every country, every major company, every household, we're all caught in the same downward spiral. And here's the cruelest irony of all. The more we pay, the more we seem to owe. Because in this system, debt isn't meant to be paid off. It's meant to be maintained. Debt itself is the product, and we are the customers for life. The wealthy don't fear debt. They sell it. They own the banks, the credit agencies, and the bonds. They write the laws that keep this whole machine running. They literally lend money they don't have, charge interest on it, and then profit from every crisis that follows. When the economy crashes, they swoop in and buy up assets for pennies on the dollar. When inflation soars, they win. The entire system is engineered to pull wealth upward, from the hands of the workers and taxpayers into the pockets of the very few. Just look at how every financial crisis plays out. A country collapses under its debt. The IMF or World Bank steps in with so-called rescue loans. But the conditions attached to these loans often destroy local industries and force the privatization of public resources. The nation's debt grows even larger, and the lender's control gets even tighter. It's the exact same story in our personal finances. When we default on a loan, we can lose our homes, our cars, our financial freedom. But when the banks that created the crisis default, they get bailed out with our tax money. The system is set up to always protect the creditor, never the debtor. And so, we work. Not for freedom, but for repayment. We spend our lives chasing numbers on a screen. We call it earning a living, but what are we really doing? We're maintaining the illusion of stability for a machine that feeds on our time, our energy, and our labor. We're taught to fear defaulting on our debt, to see it as a personal failure. But for the financial elite, debt is a strategy. They leverage it, they multiply it, and they use it as a tool of power. They can borrow millions, even billions, at near zero interest, while the rest of us are paying 20% or more on a credit card. That's not a coincidence. That is by design. Debt has become the invisible prison of modern civilization. Its walls are built from laws, banks, and our own fear. No one needs to put you in physical chains when they can make you owe them. The illusion of choice is what keeps this system alive. We think we're free because we can buy things, travel, post our lives online, and consume. But every swipe of the card, every loan agreement, every contract we sign just ties us a little bit tighter. Even nations that try to break free get cornered. If a country refuses to take on more loans or rejects the harsh conditions, the global markets punish them. Their currency collapses. Their assets are downgraded. Their leaders face immense pressure, and sometimes they're even removed from power. This is how the invisible empire of debt sustains itself, through obedience enforced by numbers. But here's a fundamental truth. Every system built on such a massive imbalance eventually breaks. History proves it, time and time again. When debt becomes impossible to repay, a collapse follows. And when that collapse comes, it brings radical change. Old empires fall, new orders rise. The real question is, who will be in control of the next one? I believe we are fast approaching that breaking point right now, with global debt at record highs, inflation burning through our savings, and inequality at levels we haven't seen in a century. This machine is sputtering. The chasm between the lenders and the borrowers is wider than it has ever been. And when the delicate balance finally breaks, it's always the people at the bottom who are crushed under the weight. Unless we finally see the prison for what it is. The first step to freedom is always awareness. It's understanding that money, as we know it today, is not a neutral tool. It is a weapon that controls behavior, dictates policy, and is used to define our worth. If debt is the prison, then knowledge is the key to unlock the door. And maybe, just maybe, the next great revolution won't be fought with guns or protests in the streets. Maybe it will be fought with understanding, with financial literacy, and with the courage to refuse to play a game that is rigged against us. Debt doesn't define our humanity, but for now, it rules our world. Thanks for watching. If this video made you think, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs to see it. Let's start the conversation.